Hi, Founder fans. Jason here. Welcome to Trivia. Finally, after 2 weeks of hiatus, technically 3 weeks if we count along. Thank you guys for coming. As people roll in, as usual, we'll give people a little bit of time to get here. For those of you here, both of you have already hit like. Thank you so much. Drop me your name in the comments so I know who's playing. So I give you time to make answers to these questions. Happy 2nd of July, Independence Day. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the team. July 2nd, Independence Day. It was on July 2nd, 1776, that these united colonies absolved themselves of all allegiance to the British Crown. They then spent the next 2 days hacking and mangling the Declaration of Independence, if you ask Thomas Jefferson, cutting out about a quarter of the document until the final version was released on a certain date. We're going to get to that. Catherine, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad after a long time away, you guys are coming back to hang out. We are going to follow the usual routine, see if we still got it when it comes to the, everything. So, since people are here, why don't we, let's start playing, shall we? Pop over here. And I almost gave this one away, but we're starting with the easiest question, and it's because when I pulled out the what happened here questions, which again you can never see because the light reflects off these laminated cards. This was the first question that came out. And usually the easy questions I skip, but this should be very easy. What happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on July 4th, 1776? It's a question, and I've asked it. Welcome back. If you don't know this one, well, you've come to the right place because you have some learning to do when it comes to American history. This is day one stuff. Everyone just rolling in. Let me know you're here. We're starting with the easiest question in the whole wide world as people show up. So let us know you're here. Hit like if you want to. If you leave your name in the comment, I'll know you're here. Colonel. Well, let's see. Yes, it's interesting. Colonel, you actually used the phrase I used. Ratification of the Declaration of Independence, as I almost gave away. It was ratified. You're all right, though. They adopted it. They accepted it. Ratification is usually a term we set aside for the Constitution, though it's definitely not wrong, and it is what they did that day. Set aside. Diagnose? What's the word I'm looking for? Designate for the Constitution, but it is, of course, correct. Let's go with another question. This one's fun. This comes from our Constitution cards. Not necessarily about the American Revolution, about the Constitution itself, but true and or false. The commander, as commander-in-chief, the president has the authority to fund troops in combat. Now, this question is a little bit trickier than it may at first appear. So put some thought into it. Let me know and take your time. Of course, we do know that under the Constitution, the President of the United States is the Commander-in-Chief of the American Army, although there wasn't one when George Washington took over. But that's kind of debatable. There was certainly a war going on in the Northwest Territory, the Northwest Indian War, as it's usually called. That was happening. But there was no United States. So they kind of absolved it. It took a little bit to get in there. And we got some disagreement here. We have Catherine with true and Colonel Misfit with false. So according to this card, Ashley making up words, that's fine. The answer is false. Now, the only Congress can actually, has the power of the purse, as they say. So only Congress can actually pay for literally anything. That is deceiving, though, because they obviously, as commander-in-chief, it's the president's name that's on the checks that the soldiers get. So Congress does designate him the money, and then he, when they're in combat, has the authority to fund them. So it's a little bit of a trick question. But, the Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution authorizes Congress to raise and support armies and also to, quote, to provide and maintain a navy. So that is authorized in the Constitution. So and I think enough people are here, at least enough of the core crew. Thank you guys for coming on this Independence Day, July 2nd, when we actually declared independence, didn't just sign the cool document. So we're going to pop over here to the interweb and play our first trivia game on Sporkle together. And, well, what do you know? I'm going to scroll up for it. What do you know? We are going to do signers of the Declaration of Independence, because how could we not? Right? How could we not? So, there are, let me get over here, there are 56 names, significantly more than on the Constitution, that are on the Declaration of Independence. And, well, as soon as I see one of you type in one name, I'm going to hit go. And we will have 10 minutes to get through it. I don't think we're going to need that much time. I think we're definitely going to do it, even with the small handful of us who are here at this point. So here I am waiting. I don't know how far ahead of you I actually am. I didn't check. Probably a few seconds. Oh, Colonel coming out with Salt Man himself, Morton. There it is. Reed. That's right. Read like a book. Paul. Okay. We got Hayward. We got Payne. All right. And we're thinking about it. Now, there are certain names that if we miss, I'm just going to hang up and leave. I'll put it like that. Chase is definitely an answer. Thornton from Thornton. Thorn, like a ton of thorns. Matthew Thornton of New Hampshire. Dr. Rush, absolutely. Roger Sherman signed everything. How can you miss that? Johnny Adams. Yes. And Sammy Adams. Both of those guys. Those cousins. Floyd, absolutely. William Floyd. And Benjamin Franklin. We would have been certainly upset if we missed Benjamin Franklin. I see Ashley also following up with Floyd. You guys have the same names in your head. I like that. Paca. Is it William? Yes. William Paca. John Witherspoon, president of Princeton. A very important man. I believe the only technically preacher to sign it. Caesar Rodney. Colonel, there's Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, we would have been really upset if we missed Thomas Jefferson. Now, wouldn't we? Now, wouldn't we? George Wythe. I've learned that it is pronounced. I very much bothered people when I made my video on him like a year and a half ago by calling him White. That is not his name. Hopkins. And Hopkins' son. One of my favorites, William Whipple. Absolutely. Smith, always a good guess. And there it is, James Smith. Gwinnett, absolutely. His signature is very expensive. He makes a collection of these signatures very hard to come across. Witherspoon, I believe we just did. That's all right. There it is, Ashley. Don't want to forget Morris, because that's a twofer. Just like Adams, Morris is a twofer. Robert in Pennsylvania, Lewis in New York, unrelated. Harrison, with an N? Yes, Benny Harris. Well, we got one Reed, and there's the other Reed. Oh no, that's right. That's right. Joseph Reed did not sign the Declaration. He was out a-warring. Let's see. I'm missing some. Clymer. Yeah, definitely. And Braxton of Virginia. One of the wealthiest men to have their name on this document. Not a lot of credit, not a lot of attention goes to the Braxton family. They were one of the largest slaveholding families in North America at the time, but they also were one of the wealthiest. Pendleton, if I can spell it right. Pendleton. No? Pendleton. Okay. Apparently not. Hancock. John Hancock. Not a name we want to miss. Hart. John Hart would later hide in a cave from the British. Wolcott. Don't you know it's insane? Wilson. Possibly one of the top 3 smartest men to sign the Declaration. Thomas Nelson Jr., Lynch, almost a father-son team, but the father got too sick to walk 2 blocks. Carroll, the Catholic that signed the Constitution. Gary, yes, an amazingly important person who's often overlooked. William Few, no, I believe he signed the Constitution. Penn, John Penn did sign. Ellery did sign. He actually sat next to, he sat at the table with the Declaration when they signed it. And so he could watch everyone's reaction when they signed it. Huntington from Connecticut. Clymer, I think we got. That's okay. Clark, absolutely. Abraham Clark, there. We filled up New Jersey. McKean, yes. Thomas McKean. Hughes. Lewis, that's right. We got Lewis Morris. And if I spell it right, we also have Francis Lewis. Lewis Morris, Francis Lewis. Bartlett. Yes, sir, of New Hampshire. That's who we did get. Hart and Stone. Definitely an answer. Parker? No, Parker's not correct. I will say Josiah Bartlett is the namesake of the fake character in that President show. Oh, I knocked off the arm of my chair because the screw fell out. Taylor. Yes, George Taylor. All right, 48 out of 56. We're on a roll. We're not even halfway through yet. Let's see. We're missing a gentleman from Pennsylvania. We are missing a gentleman from New York. And we are missing Georgia, South Carolina. There it is. Oh, if I spell it right. Oh, I can't spell it. That's not good for later. Livingston. Okay, let's try this again. Livingston is a correct answer. Philip Livingston. One of the more important people there. Oh, you guys thinking it the same way. Dickinson. Nah. So the problem with John Dickinson is he does not sign the Constitution. He absents himself that day. He's a great founder. Arguably one of the top 10 most important people of the American Revolution. But he very specifically did not vote for independence, and then by August 2nd, when they actually signed it, August 2nd, 1776, he had left Congress. He had been replaced because he didn't support independence. Lee is a twofer. Richard Henry and brother Francis Lightfoot, great name. Ross, yes, George Ross certainly signed it. His cousin Betsy Ross is famous for being Betsy Ross. Let's see, we're missing a gentleman from Georgia, Connecticut, South Carolina, and North Carolina. Ward, no. So Samuel Ward was at the First Continental Congress and the Second Continental Congress, but he dies in March of 1776. And he's actually replaced by William Ellery, who I mentioned before would sit across the table from everyone who signed it just to watch them sign their death warrants. Most of them thought that they were signing away their lives. It's actually the name of a great book. Williams, yes, William Williams. Perfect name. Hayward, did we get Hayward? We must have. Bartlett, we did get. Okay, Walton. There's Walton. There's Georgia. All right, so we got two guys left. A North Carolinian and a South Carolinian. I understand that's not how they're pronounced. Now, someone did say Pendleton. You know, Edmund Pendleton, we're going to talk about a little bit later. He was a president, but he passes away very early on. Hooper. William hanging with Mr. Hooper. I don't know if you guys get that reference. Hanging with Mr. Hooper. Now we have one more. We got 3 minutes to get this last name. I am struggling to think of it. Rutledge. Nope, we got Edward Rutledge is already there. He showed up to replace his brother John Rutledge, who went home after the vote on independence to be governor of South Carolina. We got to remember, a lot of the people who voted for independence on July 2nd, 1776, were not there a month later on August 2nd, 1776, because in that month, independence was declared. They didn't really care about signing the document. They cared about, okay, we need to write constitutions, we need to start these separate state governments, and yes, it is absolutely Middleton. There it is. Whammy. Good job, Catherine. Is Arthur Middleton. He replaced his father in the Continental Congress because his father was not interested in independence. No. He had all this money to make on his plantation and didn't want to risk that. Although his father later does tacitly support in the revolution. So, great job, guys. That was fun. We did it in doing math, 7 minutes and 28 seconds. Well done. Great job, team. So this is our last question, but we're going to get rid of that and move on to our next question. It's good job, everyone. Question number the third. We are moving on to this card. Comes from this little game I got. We are focusing on the Continental Congress. There are 6 easy or student questions and 3 easy and 3 hard or scholar questions. So let's get to it. Anyone just signing in? Type in the comments who you are so we know you're here and you come play along. True or false? During the first Continental Congress, a resolution was passed asking the colonies to create militias. True or false? During the First Continental Congress, a resolution was passed asking the colonies to create militias. Now, this one's a little bit tricky. And I am going to try and hold off as much as I can. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I will say most of the colonies already had militias. Although, I'm giving it away. But not that they... the problem with trivia. I'm used to on this channel just telling you what I know. Most of the towns had militias, and they were operated in several different fashions. And they were trying to prepare. Yeah, everyone's coming in. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. It is true. You three answered. It is true. Almost every town had a militia because there were no police, and there was really no army to defend you if, you know, the French came down from Canada, or Spain came from the west, or anyone came from the south, or the Native Americans started trouble in your village. That being said, there generally were not state-run militias. However, the First Continental Congress in 1774 was before the war broke out. But by the time the war breaks out in April of 1775, 6 months later, most of the states, on the recommendation of the First Continental Congress, had organized their local militias into state-run operations. So, great job, guys. Let's move on right to this next question. Another true or false. Imagine that. True or false? At the First Continental Congress, it was decided that independence was the only solution to the colonists' grievances. True or false? Now, this question is written very poorly on the card, and I changed it myself. You even heard me change it on the fly there while I was talking. Yeah, the card's all backwards. But at the First Continental Congress, true or false, it was decided that independence was the only solution to the colonists' grievances. Okay, Ashley giving... Okay. Oh, okay. You answered last on the first question and first on the second question. That's why there's two in a row. Yeah, so the answer is false. At the First Continental Congress, they did write a letter, absolutely. They also started the boycott, which, well, it took place a few months later, on December 1st, so about 6 weeks after Congress signed the Articles of Association, or the Continental Association as it's usually called. 6 months later, they started the boycott, but they didn't start a war. They had no interest in war. They wanted their grievances resolved so they can keep being British, because in their eyes, being British made them the most free people in the entire world. They were fighting for their rights as Englishmen, as they often said. That's why they were so eager to fight for their rights, because as Englishmen, they already believed they had these rights. They being the wealthy landowners. Okay, next question. Did the First Continental Congress occur before, during, or after the Revolutionary War? Before, during, or after? Kind of gave it away a little bit on that last question. Let's see how your memories are working. This is basically a memory game. And thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I really do appreciate it. If anyone who's watching and isn't playing, just listening along, that's absolutely fine. I hope you're having fun. Hope you have a great Independence Day weekend. I love that it's on the weekend this year. We got Ashley coming in with a book 4. We've got Colonel and everyone's coming in with the right answer. This is a pretty easy question. It was the first one, as I said. It started in October of 74, and it was 6 months later, literally as people were going to the Second Continental Congress, or as they called it, returning to the only Continental Congress, that the war breaks out. You know, Lexington and Concord, they're trying to get powder, of course, but they're also trying to arrest, or at least detain, Sam Adams and John Hancock, who were in Lexington on their way to the Continental Congress. So, lots of fun. Okie dokie, I'm full of giggles today. I can't help it. It's one of those days. All right. Moving on to the hard or scholar questions. The Second Continental Congress first met in what city? Again, the question on this card is a little wordy and backwards. And the Second Continental Congress actually meets in several cities over the course of, well, from 76 to 81 until the Articles of Confederation are ratified, at which point we, as students of history, start calling it the Confederation Congress. But the people who were there still called it, they called it in Congress assembled, but they called it the Continental Congress. Why are you going to change your language? And everyone's coming up with the answer. This is a pretty easy one for the hard, considering it's one of the hard questions. Yeah, Philadelphia. First Continental Congress most assuredly met in Philadelphia South Carolina. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, next question. What is the Philadelphia State House now called? I think this card is actually wrong because they say the first Continental Congress was held in Philadelphia State House. That's not true. The first Continental Congress was held in Carpenter's Hall. Philadelphia State House was occupied by the state government, or the colonial government. So the card's wrong. I'm right. But the Philadelphia State House, where the Second Continental Congress met, is now called what? And I do see some answers coming in here. Anyone just popping in, throw us an answer. Let us know you're here. I'll be happy to wait for you on future questions. Just like we're waiting for Catherine, who got it right, either on her own knowledge or copying everyone else. It is Independence Hall. I know some computers lag a little bit, I'm sure. If you didn't know, we'll pretend you did. I'm just giving you trouble, Catherine. Thank you so much for playing. That is absolutely correct. We're going to the next question. Final question on the Continental Congress card. Anyone just popping in, leave a message. Let us know you're here. Feel free to answer this question. Who was elected president of the Second Continental Congress? Who was elected president of the Second Continental Congress? I'm going to take a quick sip of my water because I'm rattling off these questions right quick. Oh, Nikki76. What's up, bud? Yes. Thank you for answering. Yes, thank you for being here, is what I meant. Not to your question. We're going to wait until a few more people throw out some answers. Henry Middleton is a great answer, Catherine Livingston. It is kind of tricky, Colonel. Give us your answer, Colonel. And I'll go, Henry Middleton is a fantastic answer. Nick changing his answer. I don't know if he should. I didn't mean to imply you were wrong before. I just meant to imply I wasn't answering your question. I wasn't answering your answer. There were two. Okay. So, before Colonel loses her mind, it was John Hancock. So, Nick, you're right about Peyton Randolph. Yes, you're right, actually. I just took the answer off the card. So, Peyton Randolph, not Randolph. Yes, Peyton Randolph was elected president of the First Continental Congress. He leaves 4 days early. And that's when Henry Middleton is elected the second president of the First Continental Congress for 4 days. And then they adjourn. The Second Continental Congress comes around, and you're right. Peyton Randolph was technically elected the president of the Second Continental Congress, but he only holds the position for about 2 weeks because he's sick. He gets sick on the way up, and then he ends up dying that year. He misses most of the revolution. And right after that, Johnny Hands over here is elected president of the Second Continental Congress. So you're right. Technically, it was Peyton Randolph. But John Hancock then holds the position for like a year and a half. He gets all sad and hurt when Washington's chosen as commander-in-chief of the army over him, even though he's never served in any kind of capacity. Technically, he was part of the militia, but like, come on, not really. So yes, that's fun. I'm so glad that you guys, we are at this point in trivia where we can literally say, nope, Jay, you got the wrong answer on your question. And with really legitimate good answers. So thank you so much, guys. It really warms my heart on this 4th of July weekend. Okay, we're going to move to a what happened here question. Again, you can't see these cards. I wish you could. I should probably take pictures of them and upload them so you can actually see that it's in northern New York, right on the border of what they consider New Hampshire, but what Vermont would consider Vermont, on Lake Champlain. What happened in Valcour Bay, New York on October 11th, 1776? I will give you a hint. Valcour Bay is in Lake Champlain. 1776. So October 1776, obviously a few months after the Declaration of Independence was ratified and signed. It was about a month and a half after the British started the invasion of New York City. First with the Battle of Brooklyn, then taking New York. I see people coming out here with teardrops, laughing about how it's the Battle of Valcour. I will say, Colonel, at least Ashley had the decency to call it the Battle of Valcour Bay. Because oftentimes, if you're new here, calling it the Battle of whatever the question is usually a right answer. So I am going to put this. You know what? It's funny, Catherine. I did almost put Battle of Valcour Island. It's in Valcour Bay, but it is often called the Battle of Valcour Island. What's really important about this battle is Guy Carleton, the head of Canada, governor of Canada, is also the head of the British Army, at least in Canada at the time, and he has some ships, and they are sailing down the Hudson. I'm sorry, the Lake Champlain to attack the Patriots. Basically take Fort Ticonderoga, which the year before the Patriots had taken so easily because it was barely even manned at all. Benedict Arnold, don't get mad at me here, American hero Benedict Arnold essentially builds a navy, just builds it with his guys. They chop down trees and build a navy, ships, and they sail up. They hide behind Valcour Island in the bay. The British come, trap Arnold in. They fight from noon till sundown, like 12 hours of fighting. Both fleets are significantly damaged. And then as the sun sets, Arnold is able to somehow sneak his fleet out past the British and get away from them. So when the sun comes up, the British realize, oh man, we lost him. And they chase him down. And while they do pretty much catch up, Arnold is able to get to Fort Ticonderoga. They get in Ticonderoga, and the British are just dumbfounded. They're like, well, we can't attack Fort Ticonderoga. Everyone was really afraid of Ticonderoga, even though it kept changing hands very easily for a very long time. And the British leave. They go back to Canada to winter, and it buys the Americans a winter to recover, to get more men, to get more supplies, to get more prepared for the invasions that would come. It is one of the most fascinating moments in American history, of which there are thousands. Okay, back to trivia. We are going to our last card question, then we'll get to my my question over there. This is just one of the American Revolution cards. Okay. Which well-known Patriot leader's son was a Loyalist? Now, the key here is well-known, because there were, as I say very frequently, the American Revolution was very much a civil war, arguably more than the Civil War. Civil War was North versus South. Yes, there were obviously family members that disagreed with each other, but American Revolution was, hey, Dad, what do you mean you're a patriot? And most people are popping out with the right answer over here. Yeah, it was Benjamin Franklin. They asked whose son, Catherine. You're right. It's you know what you're talking about. It's Ben Franklin. His kid, his bastard son, was royal governor of New Jersey. And you can imagine how a royal governor might not want to, fight against the British, being, royal governor. It's a pretty nice gig. Though, truth be told, Ben Franklin was royal. I don't think it wasn't royal print master, but he was head of post. He was the postmaster of all of these colonies. He had a cushy job too, man. Interestingly enough, William Franklin's son, William Temple Franklin, Ben Franklin's grandson, was also a patriot. He left his dad to side with Grandpa and actually goes and acts as secretary to the diplomats in France, even during the negotiations and signing of the Treaty of Paris. There's an argument to be made that William Temple Franklin, whose dad was royal governor of New Jersey and grandfather was Benjamin Franklin, was probably the first citizen to read the Treaty of Paris. He ends up actually going back to America. He tries to get the position when Ben Franklin retires. William Temple tries to take over as ambassador to France because he's like, I've been here for like 10 years. I'm really good at it. And sorry, William Temple. Thomas Jefferson's on his way. Let's see, we got a question here. Is it possible this son was not a bastard son? I've heard it both ways. No, William Temple was not Deborah Reed. Oh man, I'm forgetting Ben Franklin's wife's last name. It's not Reed. But Franklin. Mrs. Franklin was not the mother of William Franklin, and actually William Temple Franklin was also his bastard son. I know bastard sounds like a bad word, but I think that's the technical terminology for it. So William Temple was the bastard son of Benjamin Franklin. And the last person to carry the Franklin's name. William Temple does end up going back to Europe. He's the one Benjamin Franklin leaves his papers to. So William Temple is the one that we are very much lucky. He ends up printing the letters of Benjamin Franklin, and he's the reason we have that correspondence to study now. And then he has 2 daughters and passes away in Europe. Pretty successful, but with him dies the Franklin name, at least through Benjamin's line. For anyone that is interested in bloodlines of that nature. So we're going to pop over here to my last question before we do our big shebingo at the end here. And I have Franklin's marriage is overrated. Well, yeah. Deborah Reed. It was Deborah Reed. Okay, thank you. I second guessed because there's the Reed who signs George Reed signs the Declaration. I am not sure if they're related. I would think they are because Deborah Reed came from a fairly wealthy background, which is why her family didn't necessarily want them to marry in the first place. I will have to look into that. Look for that in the future. So, another question. It's got 3 correct answers. And I'm going to pop it up here. I'm going to put my countdown on, but I might do the countdown twice so we get 2 minutes because it might not be enough time. But here's a question I made up for this, just for this holiday weekend. What 3 names appear on the original printing of the Declaration of Independence? The original printing, again, July 2nd, 1776, Independence Day. We vote for independence. July 4th, they spend 2 days arguing about the Declaration document itself. They agree to it on the 4th, and it's sent for publication on the 4th. It is printed with a famous broadside that I'm not going to say the name of because that'll give away the answer. I forgot to, here's the countdown. And it goes out to the world, and then it's a month later on August 2nd that many people sign it. So this isn't a signed copy. It is it's the printed copy. Goes out with 3 names. Thomas Jefferson is not one of them. He is just a committee member who helped draft a document at this point. He knows he did it, and most of the other people in the room know he did it, but Jefferson's authorship wouldn't actually come out for quite a while. I'll give you a hint. We already spoke about one. At the time, President of the Congress. The famous one. Again, don't worry too much about the countdown. I'm going to get rid of it because we're going to do this until we get it right. Okay, well, we got Nick popping off with Hancock. Absolutely. Big Johnny Hands over here. He's got the big signature because it's big hands, I imagine. Jackson is the right idea. Jackson was the secretary of the Constitutional Convention. So you're close thinking about a secretary. I don't know if you're doing that on purpose, but you're thinking about the wrong secretary. And the crappier one. Pardon my language. But, yeah, Jackson did a very poor job at the Constitutional Convention. It's one of the things that makes it very hard to study the Constitutional Convention, because the secretary did a turd job. Sorry, Mr. Jackson. I can't hit that note, but you remember that song? It's Mrs. Jackson, but whatever. I'm going to stall here. Again, we're looking for the Secretary of the Continental Congress. And the third name, not Stone, no. So, the only person to actually sign the Declaration, whose name we're looking for right now, we've already got. These other 2 gentlemen don't actually sign the original document. The Secretary of Congress had to attest as a witness to officiate or notarize this publication. The other person is the name of the person who printed the document. I will also give you a big old heads up that, I heard a woman's name was an original Declaration. Goddard. Yes, I have. That's not correct. I will talk about Mary Catherine Goddard when we get some answers here. And Catherine coming through with Thompson. Charles Thompson. Hired by the Continental Congress. Not a delegate. Hired by the Continental Congress to be the secretary. He did a pretty good job. He'd be there for, it's like 15, 16 years, all the way until the Constitution's ratified, and then he tries to become Secretary of State of the United States, because they had Jefferson as Secretary of State, but they didn't know if there was an Interior Secretary of State and an Exterior. He wanted to be Interior Secretary of State. That didn't happen, so poor him. Now, the original publication was called The Broadsides, the blank broadsides, and there it is, Mr. Nick coming through, John Dunlap. John Dunlap was just the printer who had a government contract, and FYI, this is tomorrow's founder, so spoiler alert, John Dunlap was the a printer in Philadelphia who had served briefly in the war. He won a government contract. If you think that's new, he won a government contract from the Continental Congress, which wasn't even technically a government yet when he won the contract, until 1776, July 4th, when, well, they ran this document over to him, and he went and printed approximately 200 copies. And they went around the world, and that was great. Looks like everyone's leaving, but that might just be YouTube lying to me. And as for Mary Catherine Goddard, so great job, guys. These are the 3 names that were printed on the original version. I'll pull myself back up here before we go into our big shebang at the end. We're going to do our usual routine because it's been 3 weeks. I want to see how we do. Mary Catherine Goddard is fascinating. She was a woman. Her brother was also a printer, William Goddard, and he opened a bunch of print shops. He ends up in Philadelphia, and she runs the Baltimore print shop. What Mary Catherine Goddard did, they're generally referred to as the Goddard broadsides as opposed to the Dunlap broadsides. She printed the following year copies of the Declaration in Baltimore. I believe it was Baltimore. It might have been in Annapolis. Might have been Annapolis. I think it was Baltimore. But she printed the Goddard broadsides. And she's the first one to print the Declaration of Independence and all of the signers' names. So we know who signed the Declaration of Independence because we can look at now we can look at the Declaration of Independence, but also because she was the first one to tell the world who signed this death warrant that they had published. And much like John Dunlap, she did the same thing that most printers did at the time. When you published a broadside, you published your name at the bottom because it's free advertising. Come on. So that's why Dunlap's name is on the printing of the Declaration. I should have mentioned that when we were just saying it. It was Hancock as president, Thompson as secretary, the witness, and Dunlap, because he's the print shop owner. And Mary Catherine Goddard does the same thing. So the first time the world gets a look at the names of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, at the bottom, under the names, there's a woman's name. It's Mary Catherine Goddard. And she will forever be associated with that. Very interesting. I'm not going to go into her whole life, but her whole life is interesting. Nick, you definitely should look into her. Go to founderoftheday.com. There's some articles about her right there. Very brief, although you can definitely get into more deep conversations. Motorcycle rocking through. All right, guys. This is it. This is our big 4th of July shebang. And what we're about to do, most of you know the drill, but for those of you who are new here, we are going to try and name 243 American founders. Now, we've done this in 10 minutes before. I don't expect to because it's been a few weeks. But we are going to try and name almost every person involved with the creation of the legislative branch of the United States. So this includes delegates to the First Continental Congress. How do you see my? Can you see my? There we go. Over here. Delegates to the First Continental Congress. Signers of the Declaration of Independence, which we already did. Let's not forget the names we did. Signers of the Articles of Confederation. Delegates to the Constitutional Convention. And members of the First Congress. So inaugural members of the First House of Representatives and the First United States Senate. Basically, not generals, everyone else involved with the American Revolution. I'm going to pull it up over here. It's going to be a romping good time over here. Here it is. There's another list of them. Again, we're all going to be rusty, Nick. I'll give you guys a hint. There's one guy who shouldn't be here, but he was so important to the beginning of the war, they put him there anyway. I don't want to confuse you. I'm going to scroll down. There's the 243 and 20 minutes above my head. I'm going to take a sip of water before we get rocking. Okay, you guys listen to me drink some water. I think we do got this, guys. We don't, the only problem I think we'll run into is names we've already said when we did the declaration earlier tonight. But what are you going to do? So, I'm ready when you are. As soon as I see one name at a time, as soon as I see someone popping up a name, I'm going to start typing. I'm going to hit play and start typing. I would recommend we start with the big 6 so we don't forget any of the names that'll really drive us crazy later. And Izzard is definitely not one of those names. Hamilton is. Hall, Washington, Adams, Jefferson. There we go. 2 Jeffersons. Franklin, Madison, Jay. There we go. Getting some of those big ones. John Jay, arguably the big 7. Anyone just popping in? We're just starting this big list of American founders. Throw me any name you know in the American Revolution. Monroe, Reed, Coles, Page, Madison. I think we just did. That's all right. Better to say it twice than not at all. Dana, Dalton, Walton. Ooh, rhymes. I like that one, Ashley. Never thought about those. Sevier, Morris is a bunch of right answers. Absolutely. Conti, Bland is at least one right answer. Nelson, Paca. Senny, I think it's pronounced. Harrison, absolutely, right at the top there. Drayton, Muhlenberg, a name I can never seem to spell. Anyone popping in? We just started naming as many American founders as we could possibly think of. Let us know names. Better to say them twice than not at all if you think we've already done it. Henry, if I could spell, yes, Patrick Henry is assuredly on there. So is Roger Sherman. He signed all of the things. Johnson and Johnston, both correct. Randolph. Hopkins, if I can type. Braxton, Carter Braxton, as I said, are probably the wealthiest guy to sign the Declaration of Independence. I should say arguably. Bloodworth. Oh, we're going for the worst. Bloodworth? Did we already do it? Bloodworth? Okay, Bloodworth is definitely correct answer. Wadsworth, not sure why it's not working. Did we already do it? Maybe Hopkinson? Randolph. Oh, you're coming up with names quick. We did Randolph. That's all right. Hooper. Guys, both saying Hooper. Braxton we just got. I like you're on the same page, though. Wentworth. Livermore. It's Livermore, not Livemore. That's all right. I gave it to you. Ellsworth. Oh, I can't type today. That's not great. Keen with not White. Hopkinson, I think we just did. Pock, I think we got. Yes, Morton Saltman. Pendleton. Yeah, it worked this time. There it is. Bland, we just did. Type it anyway. Biddle, absolutely. Foster is 2, I think. Mason. Pendleton, we just did. That's all right. Gary, hugely important founder. Randolph, we've done a few times, I think. Coles, yes. Nope, did we do it already? Blair. Page. I think we did Page. Galloway ends up being a loyalist, but had a really important plan at the First Continental Congress. Martin, really important in that they didn't do it, but it was still important. Telfair, Davy, Thatcher, Harvey, Tucker, Vining, Langworthy. I don't know if that counts as one of the Worths. What do you guys think? Ames, Lynch, Aesop, or Alsip? I've seen it pronounced both ways. Bourne, Wincoop, Dickinson, absolutely. Cushing, absolutely. Floyd, signed that declaration. Representing Long Island. Ross, Rhodes, another guy who ends up being a loyalist, but still pretty cool. Livingston, Mercer. Livingston's probably a few right answers. Excuse me. Gale, Benson, Sylvester, White, Collins, Hathorne, Houston, Bannister, Houston. Did I spell it wrong? Houston, Gadsden with that sweet flag. Hudson, Humphreys. If I could spell today. Sinixon, Broom, Butler, Steele. Right, we're on kind of a roll. Oh, already past 100, not even 4 minutes in. I like it. We've come to a gotten quite Mifflin, Dunder Mifflin, Hartley. Oh, I already did Hart because I was typing Hartley and it gave us Hart. But is there another Hart, but maybe something in front of the Hart so we don't forget that guy? Bordeaux, Roberdeau, Griffin, Rodney, famous rider, Heister, Devin Heister. Nope. Did we do Heister? Oh, it's I before you. Got it. Marchant is 2. Sherman. Not Sherman, Sherman. Ross, do we do? Yes, we did it. That's okay. Van Dyke. Don't forget the Van part. That helps. De Hart. That's right. If I spell it right. De Hart. 2 words, though. Foster. I think we just did Foster. Arian Foster. Blend. Nope. It's Blandon, and we got it. Nice try. Wingate. Harrison. I do believe we got there. Livermore. We got. Collins. Did we do? I think we did. Yep. Good Hugh. Marchant. We just did. Carroll. Few. William Few. Chase. Braxton. We did. Bartlett. Do we do? Josiah Bartlett? Nope, got him. President from the West Wing. Namesake Braxton. You guys are probably sick of me hearing me make that reference. McKean, I think we did. Yeah, that's okay. Baldwin, we did not. Middleton, that's 2. Galloway, we did. Smith, don't want to miss the easy ones. Lee, I think we got. Jackson, that's right. Technically shouldn't be here. He was a hired hand as Secretary of the Congress. Gale, we got. Mackley, Harnett, not Hartnett, not Josh Hartnett, as we've learned. Stone, Hosmer, Heister, I think we got. Spate, Richard Dobbs Spate, we did not do. Ingersoll, Otis, that is the one that shouldn't be here, but he's just too important to be left out. Hartley, because he never really served in any of the required places in the Partridge. Hard for me to talk sometimes while I'm Partridge. I think we did. Okay, no, we didn't. Got it. Schuyler, yes, those famous sisters. Although that is certainly referencing the father. Dwayne, Deed, Patterson, allergies, Bedford, Gunn, Dyer, Dewar, Dwayne, Gunn. Yep, just did Gunn. Thought so. Penn, got him. Few we did. Huntington, Hathorne, we did. Baldwin, we did. Fitzsimmons, the Catholic that signed the Constitution, we did not do. Hanson, oh man, sweet band. Holton, I guess. Sherman, we did, yeah. Morris, do we get Morris? Yep, got him. Strong, very strong. Scott, Hughes, King, Dickinson, I think we got. That's okay. Dana, do we do? Very important. He went to meet Catherine the Great. Catherine Livingstone, sorry, Lewis. There's a lot of Livingstons here, so I see your name and that's what I think. Lewis, Gorham, very important. Tried to get Prince Henry to be king. Stone, we got. Lovell, Stockton, do we do? No, good one. Hawkins, yes. Matthews, 1T. Matthews, 1T. Interesting. Stanton, Stockton, we just did. Thornton, did not do. Jennifer, Pinkney, you spelled it right. I appreciate that. That's a tough one. King, we get? Yep, we got it. Okay, just check it. St. Clair, which I've heard people say as Sinclair, which is interesting. Good Hugh. Strong, got Strong. Burke, we did not. Aidenus Burke, Sedgwick. Told Massachusetts, hey, you guys made slavery illegal a few years ago. And they were like, oops, okay, great. Blount, Leonard, Grout, Wingate, did we do? I think we did, yeah. Sumter, Langdon, Reed. Do we do both Reeds? Oh, we'd only got one. Okay, interesting. Really? Okay, I guess so. Sinixon, I think we got Sinixon early, actually. Scudder, the doctor who died in battle. Borum, first representative from Brooklyn. Lowe, Houston, I think we did Houston. Wisner, New York. Gorham, I'm pretty sure we got, yep. Leonard, I think we also got. Herring? Nope, got him. Lynch. I guess we got Lynch, Yates, and Lansing. I like how you put them together, Ashley. Hayward. Two dudes who walked out of the Constitutional Convention, came back to New York and said, nah. No. What is this? Do you know what that kid Hamilton is doing with that kid Madison in Philadelphia? Can you believe this guy? Benson. Van Dyke, I think we did get, but there's another Van we didn't do. If that's a hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Elmer. Ellery, do we do? No, good. Gary, I think we got. There it is, Colonel Van Rensselaer. I'm very glad you spelled it right, because I just can't. Jennifer, I think we did get. Van Rensselaer, great. Hathorne, we did. Okay, we're at about 10 minutes. Oh, man, we only got 45 left. Okay, team. Let's see. Wolcott, don't you know it's insane? Nice. Lawrence. Okay, are there other ones that sound like that? Brearley. What are spelled different? Trumbull with an U. It's not Trumbull, it's a bull, like an animal. But that's correct. I gave it to you. Well done. Very important to... We got Fitzsimmons. Lawrence, that's right. Did we already do Lawrence? I guess so. Yeah, Trumbulls were extremely important to Connecticut. Sini we did. Kinsey, I don't think we got. Crane, we did not. Telfair, we might have. Yep. All right, 39 left. That's how many people signed the Constitution. Huger, Johnson. Yep, got it. Law. Low. Do we get? No. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Take some water. Yes, McHenry signed the Constitution. Absolutely. Brearley, head of the Committee of Postponed Parts. But we did get him already. Wolcott, we just did. Whipple, I think we... Oh, no, we didn't. Oh, doing the declaration before threw me off. With, we got. White, must have gotten. Cadwallader, we did not do yet. There he is. Huger, I think we just did. Black is not one of the colors. Brown is. I like how you throw Grayson in there when you do the colors, Ashley. That's funny. Sherman, we did, because I always have trouble typing it. I got to do it slowly. Kinsey, I think we got. Root is an interesting guess, but I've not heard that name. Sturgis, like the motorcycle rally. Spencer, did I like half sing that? Did you guys hear that? Nope, Spencer's not. Boudin, no, is 1T, but I can see how you did that. Clark, good one. Okay, Boudin, no, there it is. Crane, we just did. Yep. Now, there are a bunch of declaration signers from Pennsylvania we've skipped, and it's probably because we did declaration earlier. Sevier, we did. Rutledge, did we do that? No, good. That's at least once, probably two, actually. Hanson, we did Hanson, that's right, famous band. Mercer, Tillman is a good one. Goldsboro is also a really interesting one. Gale, nope. Martin, nope. Chase, okay, must have done it, because that is one. Carroll, I think we did. Muhlenberg, I think we did. Ellsworth, look, you guys on the same page. Well, we did. Scott, I think we did. So, again, declaration signers from Pennsylvania. We are missing a whole slew of them behind my head here. Let's see. Caswell, Richard Caswell from North Carolina. Absolutely. Gunn, I think we got. Anyone just popping in? We're just naming American founders. We got 7 minutes left. Send me a name. Mitchell. Ash. Martin? We did Martin. Okay. Rodney, I think we did. Sykes. No. It's an interesting one. Again, declaration signers. Galloway. From Pennsylvania. Sini, I think we did. Clymer. There's one of them. Conti, that's a correct answer. Did we do it already? I can't even remember what we did. Vining, I think we did. Reed, we did. Klingon, there's that name. Article signer. Again, still 1, 2, 3 declaration signers from Pennsylvania. Blount, we must have done. Heister, we did. Thompson, we did not do. Good one. Pierce, even though we're talking about his name a lot. Rush, there's one of them. Wincoop, what a great name. Patterson. Did anyone pop it in? We're just naming American founders. A whole list of legislative branch founders, so not generals. They won't work on this game, but that's okay. Taylor, there's another one. Mick Henry, I think we did. Yeah, I spelled it wrong, but I'm going to do it again to spell it right. But yeah, no, I spelled it right the first time. Never mind. Wilson, that's the one we were looking for. Well done, Catherine. Witherspoon, and definitely a good one. Hall, do we do Hall? I think we got Foster. Gilman, Nicholas Gilman, Constitutional Convention. Walker, Klingon, we just did. Bourne, no, must have done it. Stanton, I think we did. McClurg, James McClurg, there's another Constitution signer. Jones is not a correct answer. You would think it would be. Lovell, I think we got. Okay, so we did most of Pennsylvania. We have some congressmen from Virginia, which we're looking for. Cushing, I think we got. Okay, we got 5 minutes. We got plenty of time to get 13 more guys. Dana, I think we did. Harrison, we did. I know we did it. It's at the top. Rush, we just did. Parker, there's Parker. Thatcher. Okay, Wilson, I think we just did. Yeah. Burke, got. Aiden S. Burke. Goodhue, we got. More. Did not get. Okay. All right, we need another congressman from Pennsylvania. Sumter, I think we also got. Giles, I think we did not do. There it is. Bannister. We got it. Okay. Okay, so that does Virginia and Pennsylvania. Massachusetts. Oh, President of the Second Continental Congress. Oh, come on, guys. We've done this name. We've talked about this name all day. We've talked about this name all day. I'm actually surprised we didn't do it yet. Like, legitimately surprised it hasn't come up. Grayson, we did. Payne. Oh, we did not do Robert Treat. Come on, guys. We talk about the Hancock. There it is. Thank you, guys. Johnny Hands, man. That's his. I like that. I'm sticking with Johnny Hands. Okay, New York we're already done with. Massachusetts we're done with. South Carolina we're done with. New Jersey we are done with. Connecticut we are done with. Maryland we are done with. North Carolina and Delaware. Now I do see some things piling up next to me. Gilman we did before. Hancock we just did. Strong. Williamson. Oh, that's 2. North Carolina done. Ashley just rocking North Carolina there. We have a Constitutional Convention delegate from Delaware who served in the first Congress. Folsom Prison. Okay, there's one. New Hampshire. Payne we just did. So we have one from Delaware, a Constitutional Convention delegate, and an inaugural member of. So we got Folsom here, who also went to the First Continental Congress, would be a major general in the war, led an important campaign against Native Americans in upstate New York. We got to get that name. Ramsey? Is it Ramsey? Oh, we must have done it. Hancock, we got Gwinnett. Oh, don't want to miss Button. Broome. Okay, we got Broome. All right, we only need 3 more. We got 3 minutes. Plenty of time. Tillman, we did. Bedford, I think we got Gunning Bedford. Bassett, I don't think we did that one. That's a good one right there. St. Clair, we did. Again, New Hampshire, First Continental Congress would be a governor of New Hampshire. Rodney, I think we did. He would lead an important campaign against Native Americans in upstate New York. He got into a bit of a scuffle. We already got Folsom. We got into not a scuffle, but an argument. He went to greet the French in Rhode Island, and then the Battle of Rhode Island broke out, and they did not get along well. Sullivan. Yep, there it is. And now, First Continental Congress delegate. We spoke about him earlier. He went to the Second Continental Congress, but died in March of '76. I told this story today. He was replaced by William Ellery. There's a guy by the same name. There it is, Catherine Ward. We did it. We did it. Well done, guys. I can't believe there's really only, 4 of us playing right now. And those of you watching, that's great. Thank you for watching. Hit like. There's only 4 of us playing, and we did that in less than 18 minutes. Average score is 37%. So, bravo. America left out. If you know that song, you'll know why I left it out. I have gotten beet red because it's very hot in here. Had to turn my AC off, as per usual, about an hour ago. And we're at 59 minutes, so we're right there. Awesome, guys. So, for those of you who didn't hit like, please hit like. It gets more people to come check out the video. Not everyone who comes to trivia stays. Most of the people who tuned in tonight left almost immediately before I got all red. But that's all right. It's not for everyone, and we understand that. I'm going to take a sip of water. Thank you guys for coming. I guess we're going to have to come up with some new ideas for trivia. So I do have some new ideas because I'm also kind of running through with these cards. We've been doing trivia since like October, so we're doing good. Yeah, well, yeah, Colonel, people are definitely intimidated when they see us doing this last list here, and we're just like rattling off names. It doesn't matter. This is a very niche corner of the internet that we found ourselves in, so I really appreciate you guys coming. I hope you have a happy 4th of July. I should make an announcement. I forgot to say, usually on the weekends I don't do a lot of videos, but on the 4th of July, I am going to be, I think about 10 o'clock in the morning. I am going to be doing a live video, hopefully before everyone goes to their barbecues and whatever they're doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Declaration of Independence. Specifically, I'm going to go through the grievances that are specifically listed in the Declaration of Independence. So if you're interested in that, check it out. I'm going to go live probably about 10:15 on Sunday morning. Hang out for that. Also, Michael Troy of the American Revolution podcast, who comes on all the time. He's coming on next week. We're going to have a great conversation about the generals in the American Army. He is doing a live video also on Sunday at noon Eastern time. And I'm calling in. He hasn't given me a lot of specifics. He just said call in at some point. So okay, I'm gonna call in and just chit chat for a minute. I think a lot of people are gonna call in. We'll see how it goes. So I'll remind you of that on Monday when you come at 10. Let's say 10:15 because I'll be slow getting up after tomorrow. So 10:15, a Sunday morning. I'm gonna go through the grievances. No big deal, just a lot of fun. So thank you for watching. As Colonel said, peace field. You guys are the best, and this is a lot of fun. Happy 2nd of July, happy 3rd of July, and happy 4th of July. I should say happy birthday to my spouse, Emily, whose birthday is the 2nd of July. She was born on the real Independence Day. So happy birthday, Emily. You guys all have a good weekend. Be safe out there. Pick a location and stay at it is my best recommendation for 4th of July because people are a little too much fun and they get behind the wheel. So be careful. And also with fireworks. Be very careful. It's a fun, dangerous holiday. I'm out of here, guys. Thank you, Colonel. That's super nice of you. I will be back with you on Sunday and, peace field.